Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show, sponsored by DJ Private Hire, Gateway Accountancy Services Limited, Elite Goalkeeper Academy, Motivate, Danny Lay Plumbing and Heating, The Football Pink, and now Sporting Journeys North East Limited. Tonight is our episode 96 of Northern League September Review Show, and our guest tonight are Carlisle City gaffer Dan Kirkup and Yarmouth Cliffs gaffer Stephen Jackson. Lads, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Cheers.
Well, mate, thank you.
Yeah, and I think as always since our last show, there's been managers sacked, managers left, players coming. There should be a lot to talk about tonight. But we're going to start with our guest tonight and start with Dan, Carlisle City manager. How's life been managing so far?
Pretty tough, to be fair. I was thrown in the deep end, really. Like, with 2 weeks of the season to go, I was just went back to pre-season just as a player. Then the manager left, and I just took training just to keep things going till they found someone. Then next thing, would you take it type of thing. I think a lot of the lads were going to leave, to be fair. So I gathered around them and said, look, if I do take it, are you going to stay? And they did. So I thought, sort of, to keep it going, I need to do it, or they're going to bugger off, because Gretna took quite a few of our players at the start of pre-season. Like, that's sort of why Jim left. You know, he was struggling to recruit players. Lost some good players to Gretna, and like Gretna were throwing some cash around. So yeah, basically just finding my feet. I'm enjoying it, to be fair. Like, you know, I've recruited quite well, and it's getting better. I mean, we've started pretty well. I would have snapped your hand off at the start if you asked us, like. So, all good so far.
Yeah, like, see, I remember last time we spoke on the show, you were just chatting about possibly like another season, playing this, and I see in the news, I was over the moon to see you were involved in the management. I know you were chatting about wanting to get into it, but as you say, so far, eighth, a few points off the playoffs. I mean, what was your aim when going into the start of the season?
We never really put an aim on it, you know. Just we've been so close to the season, it was just literally, let's make sure we're just all right type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, our budget's not the biggest. It's tough to recruit players over our way. I mean, if we can be mid-table, that'd be good. But I think it's quite an open league this year. Everyone seems to be beating each other. So if we can hover around them playoffs, you know, you never know. Like, but I think that would be a massive ask to get in the playoffs. But like I say, you've got to be ambitious in football, haven't you? You know, so if we can hover around them playoffs and cause a few problems to teams, then that'd be great for what our budget is and what we are really.
Yeah, like I say, a great October coming for you. Don't make things easy. I think you've got West, Auckland, Shilton there as well. Should be a nice, good month for you.
We've got West Saturday, then we've got Redcard home on Tuesday. So, like I say, I mean, if we beat West, I think we're right on their tail in about fourth place. So it's got to be the aim, really, you know. Just like I say, if we can just hover in around there for as long as we can, then who knows? We've got a decent little squad when we're all fit. Problem is, when we lose a couple, we've lost a couple to injury. Like our main striker, it's just replacing them. Probably all teams are the same. Losing your best players at this level, it's really difficult to replace. You know.
Definitely, all great start. Welcome to the show as well, Stephen. I know first time on the show, and another manager doing very well this season. Brilliant start and setting 4 points off the top. Happy so far?
Yeah, we've been on a decent run. You know, similar to exactly what Dan was just saying there. It's been relentless. Start of the season, 15 games in just over 7 weeks, and the squad depth's been key. We've put the same 11 out 2 games out of the 15, so it's the squad's been really pushed at that point. So we're going well for what we've had to manage at times, but maintaining the levels now is the focus. It's still early-ish in the season, but yeah, we're happy. We're on a good run. The lads, we have a core group who are excellent, and yeah, really enjoying it. As Dan says, it's busy. You're never off the phone, but yeah, really enjoying it, and we're happy so far. It's a good run we're on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know myself, I've seen he's play a few times around the Hub towards the end of last season, where the Hub was literally the home ground for every team, I think. Like you say, a really good side. I really fancy this season going into the league. I mean, what was your kind of aims yourself going into the league, or was just kind of take one game at a time?
Yeah, so the first sort of aim was ensuring we retained the squad from last season and retained that group, whilst adding, 1 or 2 where we can. And last season, first season in the league, I was playing. You know, I was a player last year. Similar to what Dan was saying. We got 71 points and finished 8th in the league. So I mentioned earlier in the season, emulating that, I think would be success on the pitch. Is you look at points tallies, you look at amount of wins, goals scored, etc. And you're always trying to improve in that sense. The club ultimately is attempting to grow not only on the pitch, but off the pitch. You know, the committee and they're sort of non-stop with their work. The fan base is growing, the core fan base there. So yeah, it's sort of on and off the pitch that we're trying to grow as a group. But yeah, ultimately emulate what we did last season and hopefully go a bit further into the top 5 in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the next couple of games is massive. Even at the start time of the season, Eshwin and Horden, 2 teams up there as well. Some massive games coming up.
Yeah, they're all massive games, as we've got to say, and these 2 games won't necessarily define our season ultimately, but we all play each other. The top 3, you know, we play Esh, then we play Horden, then Horden play Esh. So there's points to be gained there, points to be dropped. But yeah, we're just taking each game as it comes, as everyone says. We play Esh Saturday. It started really well. I know we're going to chat about, and yeah, another tough game, as they all seem to be at the minute.
Excellent. Great start for both sides. Touchwood, like you say, you don't give you the curse. I know we give. I think it was the Jarrah manager, one manager of the month, and he didn't win a couple of games in a row. So hopefully we don't put the curse on both of you tonight as well. But getting on to Division 1, and lots of people watching now, thank you so much. Smashing past 20 now, so please get any comments in about your side, how you're getting on as well. It'd be great to have a read for them as well. And on to Division 1, and a couple of results from the other night. Whitley Bay 1, Blue Star 1, Wrecker 2, Berkeley 2, Kendal 3, Easton 1, and Crook 1, Blythetown 1 last night as well. Dan, starting with yourself, Borough Rangers top, looking really strong at the moment, apart from the 3-1 loss to Marsk. I know you've played them. Kind of, what was your thoughts on them, and do you fancy them to stay up there the rest of the season?
Oh, definitely. I like what they do there. To be fair, he's got a good group. He seems like he's got a good, honest bunch. He's probably had for a long time. I mean, they're well organised. They know the job, and they've got a kid up front who scores for fun, which is what we all need and what we all want. Like, it's a massive help. I don't know what he's on about, 25, 30 goals, the lad already. Absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, if you got someone doing that, you're gonna win a lot of game of football, aren't you? But yeah, they were really well organised on the day at our place. What was that? I think it was it 3-0? I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were head and shoulders. It was like men v boys. To be fair, they were really good. But surely, I think Red Car can't be far away with what they're splashing around. You know, I haven't played them yet, but the money they're throwing at it, they've got to be going to win the league. I think. To be fair, the best team we played so far were Crook. Crook absolutely battered us in the midweek. Matty's got a really good bunch up there, and I think they'll kick on as well. But like I say, I think the rest of the league just beating each other. I think you just said there was 3 draws through the week.
Yeah.
Which sort of helps us. It just keeps everyone all intact together, you know. It's just about someone getting on a little run, and hopefully that can be us soon. You know, it's just trying to reel off 3 or 4 wins in a row. It's very difficult, like, you know. Apart from the top 2, no one else can really do it. You know, I think they play each other on Saturday as well.
Yeah, right again, that one. No, it should be a good one. And Stephen, just behind that, you've got obviously the Wrecker and Blythetown who drew last night. Chasing away, obviously, with Wrecker, a couple of 5-0 wins in September. Blythe, decent month again, apart from the loss against Dan's Carlisle. Do you think between them that'll be the 3 that will be kind of chasing the league come the end of the season?
Yeah, I think they're the 3 to catch, aren't they? But we were mentioning sort of before we got on about Kendal and them getting on a run, and there is going to be a team who'll come from that pack, you know, and challenge that top 3 in particular. West Auckland are always seem to be there or thereabouts. Shildon, who beat us comfortably with 10 men in the Vars. You know, it's a bit of a shock where they are in the league currently. I think 11th, 12th, somewhere around about there. So they're going to hit the form at some point and beating the sides up the top. So yeah, it's competitive, which is good to see. Yeah, but the top 3, I think
last night as well was Blythe. They'll take a lot from that last minute goal. Little things like that, even though it's a draw, they'll take a lot from that, won't they, getting the last minute equaliser?
Yeah, and we know from last season, you know, sort of walked the second division, and they were a really strong side last year, and they've only added and got stronger, and you know their infrastructure and things is only improving. So yeah, they've had a couple of last minutes, haven't they? There was another one a couple of weeks ago, I think, where they snuck a 2-1 later on as well. So yeah, it just gives you that bit of extra going into the next game when you get that last minute winner or equaliser. So yeah, they'll certainly be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, definitely. And Dan, I mean, you look at the pack behind that, the 4th down to 16th. I know we've played quite a big chunk of games now as well, and it's a kind of a 10-point swing between the 4th right down to 16th, which is absolutely crazy. But do you think that's how it will go the rest of the season, where everyone's just beating everyone and just well over the season?
I've never known it like this before. In
Crazy.
the 15 years I've been in the league, you know, it's always just your top end and your bottom end, but literally it's even the bottom teams aren't really cut adrift, you know, like usually a couple always cut adrift. They seem to be, they can pull a result out, you know. So I think it's just the nature of the league, you know. I think obviously the standard's not what it used to be, you know, so maybe that's why you get such inconsistent results, because the standards is not as high as it used to be, where back in the day, you know, you get your 3 or 4 teams would just roll, and it turned into quite a difficult league. But I think it's probably a bit more exciting this year. You know, you feel like you can. Every team probably feels like they can do something. You know, and I like the playoffs. I think the playoffs gives the league keeps everyone a bit of hope. You know, because I've played in leagues obviously when you know the top 2 have won it, and it's just like what we're playing for type of thing. You know, but like you say, if you've got all them teams who could get in the playoffs, then it keeps the season alive for a lot of teams. You know.
Yeah. Do you think it will help now? Touch on obviously the weather outside, the way it's looking now, but the midweek game is kind of starting to stop now, and it's going to be Saturday after Saturday, and obviously you get your training sessions in. Do you think that's when teams will now start going on their little 3-4 game runs?
Yeah, possibly. I might find a bit more consistent. Obviously, it's not easy when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday. It's probably where you're getting your inconsistent results, but you probably will find your better teams will probably keep your players fit and kick on a little bit more now when you play it down to 1 game a week.
Definitely. And staying a couple of teams behind that, West Auckland, 5 unbeaten in September. Blue Star, really good month as well. How important is it to put a win and run together? And what does that do in the change room and build as a group together?
It's massive.
Oh, is that me, Dan, or you?
I don't know.
Who was that, you?
Also, for you, Stephen. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Oh, is that me? Sorry, Dan. Well, obviously, yeah, it breeds confidence, doesn't it, to the lads? And yeah, we're all in it to win football matches. And you know, groups you can see at times the lads walking out who feel like they've won the game, and other sides who were on those bad runs. You know, you feel like they can go 1 behind and they're beat by going 1 behind. So yeah, it's huge, and you can see those sides. And as Dan said, they'll kick on now. A lot of sides getting lads back, getting fully fit squads, because it has been relentless.
Definitely. A couple of fans here for you, Stephen. Luke saying, go on, Jack, go on the Jack. Or and Josh is asking now, what do you think of Cameron Wild, your captain?
Well, Cam's been out for about 6 weeks now, but luckily he's been on the social media running that for us and supporting from the side, and he'll be hopefully back fit in a couple of weeks. He's been a big miss to us.
Yeah. And Dan, a good pack behind that as well. Obviously, the likes of North Shields, yourself, Crook, Gisborough, Shildon, Penrith, Kendall, Northallerton, Easton, Whitley Bay, just the list goes on. I mean, with some of them teams that you've played, have you been impressed with them teams so far?
Like I said, Crook, I thought Crook were absolutely brilliant on the night when we played them. Matty's recruited really well there, to be fair, this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shows I think they've got about 3 or 4 games in hand, to be fair, on the rest of with their FA Cup run, like. And I fully think they'll be about playoff area without a doubt. You know, we played them on Wednesday night up at their place, and they were just a real old school Northern League team. Everyone knew the job. They turned it back to front. They were just relentless. You know, just winning throws high up the pitch, and we couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And you see all these teams now, and they're all trying to play and think the Man City and that. And it was just good to see. You know, it was just like an old Northern League team that I was sort of used to and brought up on, you know, and they won't be far away. They've got people to put the ball in the back of the net, and like I say, I think Kendall will kick on. We beat them at their place early in the season, but they've got some players that are well above this level, and I think once they do find the feet, they will kick on.
Yeah, no, I watched them against Whitton Albion in the FA Cup, and I know it's a division above, but they just didn't even look out of place. Like you say, the long throw that they had, just getting the ball forward and just challenge against them. They didn't know what to do with it. They just looked lost Whitton on the night. But it's just sometimes you've got to change that style and just get at teams. And some players, like you say, because they're trying to pass it out from the back, the goalkeeper messing around. A lot of teams now, you've got to get to change things up and go direct sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I think teams just see what they see on the telly and think that's the way they play. Well, I say to people, you play in the Northern League for a reason. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was good to see. To be fair, it was just real old school football. So, they'll do all right, Matty. Like,
excellent. And Stephen, I mean, we just chatting there before the show. Managers starting to leave now. Obviously, 10, 14 games into the season. I mean, how long is it before kind of panic kicks in with these chairmen in the Northern League? Do they kind of give it more time, or do you think they've got to get changes now? Because normally you'll see, as you mentioned with Benetton, when we got to Division 2, when a manager goes, they normally take 3 or 4 the full squad with them. It's got to be the right time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can be a bit of a merry-go-round, can't it? You know, players following managers, and we seem to be at that point of the season now that chairman or managers are starting to leave clubs, be that due to results or other circumstances. It seems at Bedlington, all changed there at the minute. My personal opinion, it's a bit early in the season, but ultimately, you know, people will start panicking about a third of the way through the year now, and you know, not getting the results that maybe the budgets warrant or what they're expecting. So yeah, it's certainly merry-go-round season at the minute.
Yeah, and Josh just asking there as well. As mentioned, he played last year. Do you think you could fit in this year's squad if needed, though?
Josh is taking the mic because he's just had a horrendous training session. That's what it
is. And Dan, I mean, we just mentioned about managers there. One shot, I think last week was the Wickham and Lean Haldine, obviously leaving and Fawcett coming in pretty much straight away. But a shock result, 2-1 loss to Tow Law. What do you think kind of goes on behind the scenes with chairmen and managers and fallout? And you've always got managers coming straight in. It was kind of a bit strange on looking from the outside, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel for Lee a bit. I get on well with Lee. To be fair, we used to always text each other and help each other out with next team. Like if we were playing a team, he would send us some born and opposition and that. You know, it looked like that one was a little bit planned. To be fair, getting him back in. I don't know. I've never really spoke to Lee about it, but it looks like he's been done over a little bit there because he's done a hell of a job. Like especially last year with all them cup runs, he must have generated some money to that club. What he did, and yeah, that looked at a bit of a backhand job to get the old manager back in, you know.
Oh, strange one. And Imran, great one last night for Eton. Really good result there. And Stephen, getting on to the bottom half, the bottom few, what should we say? Berkeley struggling, but like you say, good 2-2 with Wrexham Athletic last night. And a few other teams in there, obviously like to see him Tow Law and beaten in 2 now, though, starting to pick up. But as you say, there's not a team slipping away. It's going to be a scrap down the bottom as well as the playoffs, as well as the championship. It's going to be really good this season, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's always a lot of talk about the quality of league dipping, etc. But it was always going to happen with the sort of automatic promotions now. You know, a lot of clubs stay in the league over and over and win the league over and over. We've lost a lot of clubs, but I think it has made it more competitive, and that's apparent in Division 1 with Tow Law picking up. You know, you've got sides down there like Wickham who aren't going to be down there come the end of the season. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season. A lot of clubs scrapping it out at the bottom, but I can't see anyone really in that league, you know, being that far away that they're struggling towards the end of the season. I think it's going to go right to the end ultimately.
Yeah, it should be good. And Jason just mentioned Egan. Jason, what are your chances of Yarm and Egan of getting promotion this season, do you think?
Yeah, just, you know, we want to emulate last season's points tally ultimately. We'd love to. Of course, that's what we're all in it for, especially in Division 2. We all want to be facing the clubs in the first division, those big names. We'll just keep going on and hopefully make the playoffs, and then you never know from there ultimately.
Exactly. Before we get into Division 2, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watching so far. Absolutely amazing. Loads of people watching now. And thank you for that. Keep getting your comments in, and please keep hitting that subscribe button as well, as we're getting so close to 2,000 now, which is amazing. And on Division 2, a couple of results from last night. Thorny 0, FC Hartlepool 3, and Billytown 2, Darlow Town 2. I know the Billiams and Thorny managers just left today as well. But getting on to Division 2, and Stephen Esch sitting top at the moment. How much credit does Bobby and the lads there deserve it? at Ashwin?
Yeah, they've been fantastic. And they're the top of the league for a reason, aren't they? Especially with the run they're on. I know they've had 2 really narrow defeats this week to higher level opposition in Mask and Hebben on Tuesday. We played them the final game of last season and drew 2-2, and you could see then, a good young squad. And I think they went on a run last year after a poor start of 10, 11 wins off the bat. So it was clearly there then, and they're just on one of those runs as we are at the moment. Where you go into a game of confidence, and I'm looking forward to playing them on Saturday in what should be a great game.
Yeah, great advert for Division 2, that one. And Dan, some good sides behind that as well. I just touched on there, Yarm, Horden, Wrighton for me. That top 4 looking really strong. I know it's been really quiet so far about Horden, but they just seem to go unbeaten at the minute. Obviously, the goal machine, Pounder, getting the goals as well. But them games now between them 4, the little pack behind as well, them little draws that you turn into wins. With 1-0 behind, you get that last minute equaliser. So many games like that now is going to make so much difference in Division 2 and then playoffs, and possibly even going for the title this year, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I've probably been a bit out of the touch with the second division. We've been in the first division for like quite a while now, but the standard of the teams that come up are, they really just kick on now. I don't know whether the investment. I mean, what's happened to Ashwin? Because I always remember them being just a bottom 3 team. Is the money in there or?
I think it's Bobby, just the way he's got that squad together, and the players believing in it as well. Yeah,
I've never known Ashwin ever be up there. They've always been that bottom 3 team. I didn't know whether it's been someone ploughing money in, new players, or But like I say, the standard of teams that have come up over the last few years have been absolutely credit to the first division. And like I say, who came up this year? Blythe and Blue Star. I mean, they're good as anyone. Blythe will be top 3. Blue Star probably be around the playoffs. We've played Easington twice. They're a horrible team to play against. They'll hold their own, no problem at all. Going back a few years, the teams that would come up would be generally the teams that would be looking to go back down, but it's never the case anymore.
Yeah, some really good sides. Nice. Sages behind that as well, saving some good teams as well. Jarrah, who had a cracking start. Thornaby putting a good run together. Chester Street Town. And that's what it's all about. I was just putting that run together. I know you have played Jarrah so far. What was your thoughts on them?
Yeah, really good side again. Another, they're really strong going forward. They've got Levi Collins, who obviously scores lots of goals for them, but really strong front line. I know one of the lads has moved on to Bertley, who scored against us. But they've signed that McBride from Chesterley Street Town, so they're attempting to improve. It was a great game, to be fair. 3-2, had a bit of everything. Great goals, red cards. It was certainly a good game to watch and really well set up. I think they'll kick on again, and they'll be, we'll be competing with them hopefully from the end of the season.
Yeah, there's a few red cards at the minute, and then over Division 2.
Yeah, there's been plenty in our games. Yeah.
I was just laughing as you just about to say, chat there, Stephen. Sam just mentioned even gents what hair gel that Stephen Jackson used. It looks extreme. Looks solid. Always get plenty of banter on this.
Yeah.
Stephen.
He's out the starting 11 now on Saturday. That's damn dropped. There's an easy one.
And Dan, one big shock. We've just been chatting there before the show as well. Belton manager. Obviously got that group together over the last few seasons. I've watched them a couple of times. Really, really cracking squad. But it's just there now. Obviously, the players have all left with them. It's going to be a massive tournament now for a good side like Belton. I know Steve Pittman's out, came as new manager, brought a new squad as well. But it's kind of one of those where you're kind of up there, but it could go badly wrong depending on how quick them first few games come around, isn't it?
Yeah, it just seems to be the case, doesn't it? Once a manager leaves, the players just seem to follow them in this league, So it's. I mean, I think there were the playoffs last year as well. Bedlington weren't there?
Yeah.
It's going to be a massive rebuild again there to try and get a decent team together. Obviously there was a good team there, and it's just like I say, it just seems to be the case now. As soon as the manager goes off, half a dozen players go with them, and it turns into a real difficult job for the next person coming in.
Yeah, I mean, do you think obviously with you bringing in so many players in now, the season's already started, the pre-season's well gone now. You have to try and get 2 or 3 training sessions just in that 1 week, the first couple of weeks, to try and get any momentum, the gel to take players together, don't you?
Yeah, well, like I say, most of the players are going to be playing in decent teams. The better players, are they going to be really wanting to go and leave at this time of year, unless they get offered an absolute wedge of money, which probably not the case there, to be fair. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult rebuild, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with this one, Steve, I definitely agree with this one. Obviously, helping out with West End at the minute. Jetland High teams, I think everyone, literally in Division 2, has beaten everyone. I know we've gone out and beat Billiamson Thorny one week, go and get beat 6 off the Union next week. It's just so open in that league at the moment. And I think it's 8th, even worse in Division 1, 8th down to 20th, 11-point swing at the moment. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, you've obviously got Washington down there struggling, who are the ones who seem like they're away from the pack at the moment. And then Bolton, obviously a change in management and a whole new squad going there. And yeah, things will just continue to change, particularly those sides down the bottom. I think in the mid-pack, anyone, there's some really strong sides in there, some good sides that we've played. And it is as competitive as the first in the sense as most teams, you turn up on a Saturday and it could go either way. And it's fine margins, ultimately, the league. And you want to be on the right side of it as much as possible. But yeah, tough. Every game's been tough and it will continue to be.
Yeah, and do you think now, like we just chatted with Dan before about Division 1, do you think Division 2 as well staying that now because it's kind of Saturday, that the teams will start to settle down now? You might see a few break away, a few slip away at the bottom as well.
Yeah, like I mentioned, you're getting your squads back. You're getting fully fit sides. You might be able to put 2 sides out, same 11s, which help get a bit of consistency in that sense. You're getting on the training pitch to work on bits that when you start at a Tuesday, it's been overloaded. That there's been no chance ultimately, especially with the amount of injuries. So I think this is where it'll sort of start to split now, and as we go into sort of halfway through the season, it'll become really apparent who's going to finish around about where in each area of the league.
Definitely. And down there now as a manager, do you keep eyes obviously on both leagues and kind of get out as many matches as you can? Or towards the end of last season, I was around the home and chat with so many managers coming out to watch all the games. Do you kind of get out as well watching?
Not really, to be fair. Where I live, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
And regarding players wise, there's no point going to look at players because no one's going to come over to Carlisle and sign. We've got our own little pool that we, where we are. And it is a very small pool. It's quite hard to recruit during the season. We're more like a pre-season team when we're looking at players who have maybe left like Carlisle or Workington, But like I said, during the season, there's not a lot about to go and get, And like the Northeast, where you can go and cherry pick a little bit from other teams. We're in a bit of a different boat over our way, It's quite difficult.
And do you get any support from, like you mentioned, Carlin, like any loanies, kind of work experience, anything like that?
Yeah. The problem was, I had a really good relationship with the Carlisle manager who'd just been sacked, Paul Simpson.
Nice.
So it's just trying to keep that build going. He was my manager at Carlisle like 20 years ago, and so when I got the job, I'll try to lean on him a little bit just to see if there was anything I could get a loan. I had a loan on a centre half on loan. He's out now, needs an operation, but I'm still trying to get a couple of kids off them, if they need games to sort of toughen up type of thing, So yeah, but like it is really, really difficult to recruit. We're going right into West Cumbria at the minute to get players out working out Cleatamua, and that's still an hour's drive to Carlisle, so it's really difficult.
Definitely. And Steve, we go back to the league and we mentioned that mid-pack kind of downwards, and you kind of look at the teams and any teams that you've played kind of in that mid-pack or just below, kind of think how they're down there at the minute.
Yeah, well, not necessarily played yet, but we've got sort of Darlow Town coming up who I've seen. They got promoted this season, really strong side. They've recruited really well. Quite surprised, their position at the moment. Sinners, as you mentioned earlier, finishing around the playoffs last year, and they've been struggling recently. I think there's been a managerial announcement today around that. So they've got a really good squad. So there's 2 sides there, who we're playing in October, who you're looking at and thinking they're going to go on a run at some point, and be pushing where we are at the moment.
Definitely. And Dan, finally, we've got to mention down the bottom as well, and another club, Bolton, massive rebuild there. But a couple of points on the board. I think you'll probably see them push on a little bit over the next kind of few months. But at the minute, Washley sitting bottom on 1 point. And you're kind of looking now and you kind of think we're kind of a good chunk into the season, and it's kind of worrying of kind of how many points can Washley get on board. I mean, it is worrying times for the manager, the fans, and kind of the players playing there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. A couple of my old pals in at Bolton, so I hope they do well, Davey and Sean.
Yeah.
So I hope they do really well there. But like I say, yeah, it must be tough for them teams who just really struggle away, especially in this league when you've got to travel and it's so relentless. Like like if Towlow were like that last year, they had a tough year. RCA, especially in our league, it's got to be really difficult. Please, Towlow got a win on Saturday. With being an ex-player there, I mean, we've played them. We played them early in the season. I thought they'd be all right, them lot, and it's took them a long time to get the first win there. But I'm sure they'll be all right. Like,
yeah, I think it's like you look at now in the winter period coming up and the hard pitches, and if you're down there and you go 1-2-0 down in the first 20 minutes, it's a long night for teams down there, isn't it?
Difficult it is. It's really difficult, especially. I mean, our lad's gonna go and want to sign for Washington now. That's the problem. Look at the league table, or if they're looking to get any better, is anyone going to really want to go there with how they are looking? I mean, I remember Washington when they were in the first division, when they had a really good team. So it's pretty sad to see, to be fair.
Definitely. But like I say, all positive news for both of your teams, and I want to thank you both for coming on the short night. We wish you the very best of luck for the season ahead as well.
Cheers,
mate. Thank you.
Excellent. But again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. That's our final show for this month. Lots coming up in October and then November as well. We've got a lot of looking back with lots of former players, managers coming on. We're just getting the final list together, but some cracking names coming up as well. So keep an eye out for them. But again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy your football at the weekend as well.